Welcome to Top Tables, where I'll showcase various YuGiOh tournament experiences within Toronto and even beyond the city as I prepare for big events such as regionals, YCS, and the NAWCQ. Hey guys, so we're already at episode 3 of this vlog series, and speaking of 3, this one will feature a 3v3 team event at 401 Games downtown, which is the biggest locals in Toronto, so I'm really excited to showcase this store. Now as for our team name will be the Santa Claus and the Sprite Elves. I get it, Christmas is long over, but it's a name I came up with back in December for a different 3v3 event, which we didn't do very well in, by the way, but you know, we were kind of lazy and just reused the same name. Anyways, I'll introduce you to who's on my team once we actually get to the store. But before we get to the locals, I do have a special package to open, and that is my remote regional prizing, so let's just see what's inside of that first. Packaged the best, not gonna lie, but this is the mat. Looks pretty good, for the most part. Okay, so let's just open the 5 packs. And we are gonna hope for SP or Wanted, I guess. Those are like the chase cards, so... oh, geez, I don't even think I've ever seen this card. And final pack, please. Let's go for a secret. Oh, Jesus! We actually pulled a Wanted. Oh my god, that's crazy! I honestly was gonna give up on this pack. Anyways, this is awesome, and yeah, let's just get right to locals. Okay, so for this event, I'll be teaming up with my good friend Tien, who you would have seen on my channel multiple times as he finished top 4 and top 8 at recent Niagara Regionals with Labyrinth. Then in the other corner, I'm also teaming up with another good friend in Eric, who some of you might remember a few years ago from Team Sam's channel for finishing 2nd place at Toronto Regionals with trains during Orca Striker format, and yes, he is also bringing trains to this event as well. Now, of course, having good players on your team is awesome, but the most important thing truly is to be with the people you're going to have a good time with, win or lose. And I mean that because we literally went like X3, X4 last time we teamed up for a 3v3 event in December, and we had a blast. Now, we do have a ton of players today for the tournament, and everyone's getting ready, so let's just get to know them a little bit better.
Alright, what's your team name?
Boys Who Cry.
And why?
I don't know. Yeah, we cried. Because he sucks.
What's your team name?
We're on Team Plunder.
Are you playing Plunder?
Of course.
What's your team name?
Bumpatuni.
What's your favorite thing about 3v3?
I don't know. I've never played 3v3. I'm excited to find out what it is.
Team with your friends, of course.
Winning. Losing together as a team, with the camaraderie of going X6.
To be honest with you, just play with your friends and then just communicate with your friends is the only thing where you can talk to your friends and your teammates and just help them out.
Man, whenever my teammates fuck up, I get to call them out on their mistakes, so they can't say no, oh I got unlucky. Dude, I saw you not Glue Clog. You have control fiend for Glue Clog, bro. You get to play with your friends, your BFFs, bro. 3v3, man. Oh, YuGiOh trading card game. YuGiOh! Do it!
Alright, so we're going to have 6 rounds of Swift Stay plus Top Cut, so there's no way I can cover all the matches in detail, so I'll just cover the first match in detail and just show some highlights for the remaining matches. Now in round 1, we're paired against some very good players in Assad, Gabe Vargas, and Drew. I'm personally going to go up against Assad and his unique rescue sprite strategy, so let's just get into that one. Alright, so I did lose the die roll, so Assad will be going first. I didn't draw any hand traps, so of course I'm not really going to be able to do too much. Here he's going to pitch the Sprite Red for Hydrant. This is where I was like, whoa, this is kind of interesting. So I thought I might as well just show kind of like the board that this deck was putting up. But, you know, realistically there wasn't too much of an interaction in this first game. And so he's going to get access to the Turbulence, giving him the set 4 part of the deck. Of course, going to SP, banish the 2, summon it out, and then using set 4. And then he's going to link them off into Sprint, and this is where kind of like the Sprite stuff comes in, dumping the Angler, which allows him to summon out the 2 Beavers, goes into Gigantic, now or 2 locked. Of course, if you had Nibiru, you would have just done it before that anyways. Blue Jet, and he also gets a double cross, so, you know, a lot of back row interruptions. Next, he's going to go into IP and then go into Gin Buster with the Blue and Jet, which essentially serves as a monster negate, plus a little bit of a burn, and also Carrot on top of that, which is actually very, very strong against Branded, and set 5, all of which are pretty strong. So yeah, again, I didn't have too much of an interaction, so we do just scoop and go into game 2. Alright, so moving on to game 2, of course, we are going to go first. We're going to start off with the kit, which is not ideal, as I've mentioned in the past. You know, you do have to put a card back, but you know what? It was only access to Branded Fusion, so luckily we don't have Ash, or we don't get Ash, rather. We're going to send the Albaz and the Lubellion, summon out the Albion, go into the Lubellion, go into Mirror Jade. And then we're going to summon out the Lubellion, put out the Lost. We also have Nadir Servant, which is nice. We're going to go into Maximus and also draw 1. I'm going to use Maximus, summon that out. I believe I also drew a Foolish Burial off the ad, or rather off the draw of Garura, which is actually pretty good, because then now I can just dump the Gimmick Puppet this way. So it's looking pretty strong. So we're going to send the Albion and I believe Lulu, or rather maybe Titanic Led. It's a little hard to see with the camera setup. Unfortunately, with the way the tables are set up, there wasn't too much room for me to be able to record. So end phase, Quem, so I actually summon out Quem, dump the High Spirits, which just adds back because there was a fusion card that hit the grave this turn. And so of course we're just going to shotgun the red so that we can gimmick lock without having to worry about, you know, getting Entra because he's not going to be able to spawn here. We're also going to add the Shrouded Dragon as well. Assad is going to start with the Thrust and adds the Rageki, which is actually in normal conditions pretty good, but on resolution I'm actually because I actually don't have Branded Opening in the grave just yet, so I'm going to use Cartesia's effect to summon, or Fusion Summon rather. With the Albion, we're going to dump the Serenir off Granule, which Serenir dumps Branded Opening, which now protects our Sanctifier, Mirror Jade, and of course Granule as well, and just so that you know, we can at least keep putting that pressure on in terms of gimmick locking the opponent. And Assad pretty much quickly scoops after this one, so we're just going to go into game 3. Alright, so we're moving on to the final game of this match. So Assad's going first, of course. I actually have a really good hand. I had like Nib plus Imperm, which is always incredible. But on top of that, I also have Combo, which is looking pretty good. He also has Magician's Souls in the deck, I guess. Didn't really get to see too much of that, though, unfortunately. He's also going to get the Airlifter, add Turbulence, and then just link away into SP, Turbulence, set 4. Or actually, no, before that, of course. Before he even uses effect, I'm going to use the Imperm here to at least stop that part of the deck. He's going to link into Sprint, so he's going to now go Sprite Combo, and of course this is where having Nibiru is really strong. He's going to go into Gigantic. When he's trying to use the effect, of course, we are going to nib here. Otherwise, you get 2 luck, and you're not going to be able to nib anytime else after that. So again, my hand is looking pretty strong, so we're just going to summon out the token, which is not too big, so yeah. It looks like he just passes turn there, so it's looking pretty decent. We're going to start off with the Fusion Deployment, bring out the Cartesia here. Next, we have a Luber that we're going to use. He's going to use the Impulse, and he's going to bring out the Fire Attacker, which essentially gives him like the draw 2, discard 1. So he discards the Ash, which essentially tells he has another Ash in hand, because you're obviously not going to discard the only Ash you have when you know, you're facing Branded. And now, fortunately for us, or rather, so he does Ash us, but we do still have like a Cartesia play plus Lost, so we can at least get set something up. So we go into Granule, of course, trigger the Lost, and we're going to add the Shrouded Dragon. We're also dumping the Albion off Granule. We are going second, so we sided out that Gimmick Puppet. Not that I'm really going to try to do that right now anyways. And then we're going to draw off the Shrouded Dragon as well, which I believe was just like another Cartesia, so it was just completely useless. We're going to just summon out the Serenirs to start attacking, because we are a little bit low in time at this point. There's probably maybe like 10 minutes left. So we're also just going to set the Branded Red off Albion and pass turn here. So Assad is going to start off with the Nimble Beaver effect to summon. We're just going to immediately trigger the Granule here. And we will summon out the Quem. Use Quem effect and dump the Fallen of Albaz. So he's gonna link it to SP, which is actually pretty strong. Obviously, I put out the Quem so I can force out, or rather put the pressure, because Fallen of Albaz is gonna come out, and of course SP itself can still dodge the Albaz fusion effect, and so we do allow it to get banished there. Next, he's gonna go with the starter, summon out the blue. And that's going to add the Jet. Of course, I do have a response on resolution because, you know, we want to prevent them from having some bodies on board. I use Branded in red. He tries the Bell here, which is a mistake because, of course, under Lost, you know, he can attempt to negate the activation, but it just won't be successful. And Ghost Bell does negate activations. So, yeah, we are able to bring out the Chimera, draw 2, pop just the 1 Sprite Blue there, and the SP comes back along with the Albaz. So, essentially, this means we just have game and we just attack over. Alright, so it looks like TN won his match as well, so we are actually 1-0 in this team event so far.
Oh my god.
Oh my god!
That's terrible. That's nothing. Besides pulls weren't that good.
Exactly.
They weren't that good. Let me show you some pulls. Clearly better.
Clearly
Clearly better.
So round 2, we're going up against some really good friends, and I'm personally going against Bestor, who is playing Branded Synchro. Now you might remember him on my channel from finishing top 8 at YCS Vancouver with Infernoble Knight. Alright, so we're going to start being real quick with these game coverages. Basically, game 1, I lost that roll, I hand trapped a little bit. I played a little weird thinking the set would be super poly. Of course, now that I think about it, Branded Synchro, they definitely would not have any room in the extra deck for super poly. And it honestly kind of didn't work out, and I basically lost the turn following, and so we just moved right into game 2. Okay, so in game 2, I basically set up this, not the most optimal board. I'm trying to brand it in red, go into, Sanctifier, I guess. But he has a Baldrake for the Alba, but I do get to trigger Granule after the Baldrake is summoned, and I'm going to bring out Quem, and then Quem will dump Cartesia. So at this point, I'm actually going to just use Mirror Jade effect, banish it, just so I can trigger Quem and bring out Cartesia. And I actually have an Albaz in hand, so I just hard make Sanctifier this way, and then Gimmick Lock him here, and then, yeah, that's basically it. Go to game 3. And then in game 3, he basically sets this kind of board up. I did hand trap him a couple times. I used like a Bestial, he negated with Barone. I ashed the Albion end phase. He's gonna tag out of Barone into a Quem Engrave on my turn. And then he's gonna set up, I think he sent a Retribution there. We do have Branded Loss. He doesn't have a response there. And we're just gonna Super Poly. We're gonna normal Aluber, get Branded Fusion, and that's pretty much just game right there. And yeah, we just summon Albion and Sanctifier and go for game. Now, unfortunately, we weren't able to pull off the win as a group, but that's okay. We are 1-1 so far, but we still have 4 more rounds to go. Now, round 3, I'm going up against another group of friends, and I'll personally be going up against Hayden, who typically plays trap decks. Alright, so I go first because I want to die roll, and I set up a really good board. He super polys a couple of my monsters away. Honestly, good thing that Sanctifier cannot be fused away. Basically, he discards also Keldo. I essentially force out with a Branded in red, which he's kind of trying to Keldo shuffle it away. Of course, then I chain Sanctifier to just Gimmick Lock him, and that kind of is the game for this one. Alright, so trap decks my ads, I guess. So it turns out Hayden was on tier limits, which clearly is still pretty strong despite the banless hits. So yeah, there's no way I can play through this, so I just scoop and we go into game 3. Alright, so game 3, I also have a pretty good setup. I'm using the Sanctifier. He does Call by the Grave, the Gimmick. I do have Branded in red, which I could have done to try to play around the Call by. The problem is that play loses to droplets regardless, and I still have a lot of interruptions that I wasn't too worried. So we basically get to this point where I just Mirror Jade, banish, and attack for game. Fortunately, Tien also won against Hero, so we do take this one as a group. Also, I want to clarify that while ideally I would have liked to record also my teammates' matches as well, unfortunately, because of the way the table setup was done, I just could not record other than myself. And for round 4, we're paired with yet another group of friends, so let's just go against Ali, who is quite the Flunder pro. So I do win the die roll and go first. I know that Ali is on Flunder, so I don't bother with the Gimmick Puppet line because obviously that's not going to do anything against Flunder. But unfortunately, I do still end up making some bonehead and misplays, and also him drawing Shifter for turn still did quite a lot of damage because that still shuts off Mirror Jade. So one of my many boneheaded plays in this game is that I use Drago on Eglin. He chains Apex, I super polyed away, thinking that, oh yeah, Apex won't be able to negate if it's cleared, but except I'm also clearing the Eglin, which means that he's going to be able to resolve it. Not to mention, I'm not sure why I summoned Drago in attack mode. Obviously, you want to try to special in defense mode because of M-Pen, but just out of habit, I usually summon Drago in attack just because it's low defense. But yeah, I do make some very bad plays in this game, so we do have to go into game 2. So on to game 2, I sat out the Gimmick Puppet for the Ido, which is essentially a Gimmick Puppet for Flunder because the opponent just will not be able to summon any monsters. And against Flunder, if they don't have a non-engine way out of it, they just cannot play, so he does scoop here, and we're going to game 3. So game 3, I am met with an Ash and Featherstorm, so definitely lose this one. We also lost as a team, so sadly we have fallen 2-2, and so on to the next round. Next in round 5, I go up against my friend Nick, who is on Sprite, which is still a formidable strategy. So I do win the die roll. I start with a Lubra. Unfortunately, I met with the Veiler, and my hand just was actually that bad that I had to pass just on the set 1. He's going to go with the Beaver, summon out Ankler. I do super poly him here though, which is actually pretty big, usually against Sprite if they don't have starter. I actually had an Ash for starter as well, so we do go into Mud Dragon here. Next, he just passes turn, so I'm going to go with Cartesia. I had called Light with Mud Dragon to try to protect the Cartesia, and I originally thought about going to just Sanctify and kind of like poking things from there, but I decided to get a little greedy and go with, for example, Albion, and then go into Sanctify so that I have enough for game. I was playing around Ash, but did not play around another Veiler, which I did get hit on the Albion, so I got pretty punished heavily there, and unfortunately he does just clap back and win game 1, and we go into game 2. Now for game 2, I'm hit with a Veiler and Bell on basically, and that's why I have like a Rebellion on the field. But it doesn't matter, I still have the resources to Gimmick Lock him through that, and so we do just go right into game 3. So the first battery pack on my camera ended up dying, so I couldn't record the full match, but basically I ended up breaking this board with like Super Poly and everything, but he had like Ash for the Branded Fusion unfortunately, and in the grind game I eventually lost it out, but at the same time we still have a chance to win this whole match as a group. So fortunately for us, Eric was able to clutch out the win against Keshchiro with his train strategy, so we are going 3-2 heading into round 6. Okay, so final round, if we win this match, we can actually still make top 8. So I'm going up against Aaron and his Fire King strategy. I do win die roll, I go first. Honestly, I was not interrupted at all, and while I did not have the hand to pull off a gimmick puppet lock, I still had a lot of interruptions, you know, Mirror Jade, like I had a Branded Red, Imperm, and I think even an Ash in hand, so we do quickly take this one. So for game 2, unfortunately, Aaron bricks really bad. Starting with the normal summon bell is never a good sign, so unfortunately for him, we do take a quick swift 2-0 here. Now unfortunately, we do lose this match as well as a group, but again, it's all good. We had a lot of fun. So, while we did on top, we still had a lot of fun, and always nice to get some good food with your good friends. I didn't stay until the end, but I do know teams featuring Milano and Distant Coder were in the finals, and make sure to go check out their channels. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this 3v3 team event coverage, and hope you guys have the chance to experience this kind of tournament as well. It's really fun, and you get to spend a great time with your friends. Now, if this video does well enough, then I can look to cover the Phantom Nightmare sneak peek as the next episode, since these vlogs definitely do take me a lot of time compared to my other videos, so it's always nice to get some motivation to do these vlogs. That's it for me. Thank you all again for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always for the continued support, and well, take care guys.